Hey guys, welcome to today's video where I'm going to show you how you can ensure that an intent will always capture all the available parameters. There have been a few users that have some issues in capturing all the parameters or just making sure that the language stays the same, right? And in this video I'm going to address how to capture all those parameters, even though the intent does not do that directly. Because it is AI and AI is not perfect, so we need to have a fallback which we can create directly on the spot. So if we're going to take a look under the intent of appointment bookings, then you will see I have a name, I have a description. I'm going to save it towards a value called intent match, and I also have a few parameters. Here you will see that I want to capture the date, the time, the details, the name, and the email. All are required, so I need to have these details in order for a successful booking. I also have a system message. A short system message, basically comparable to the one inside of a chat completion inside the flow, just to make sure to give some guidelines on what to expect. The settings on the right hand side will be if all required parameters are valid and present, we are going towards a successful intent match flow. If not, we're going towards the unsuccessful intent match flow. Now, this is a little bit sketchy sometimes because not all parameters will be captured at all times, 100% of the times. So this unsuccessful intent match will often be triggered. Inside this flow, we are going to set up our fallback. And our fallback looks something like the following. So if we take a look here, then if we go all the way at the top, we start with a chat completion. Inside, we're going to give the context. So you're an appointment booking assistant in charge of confirming appointments that users would like to schedule. Received data so far is the following. So this is the data that has been received so far and captured inside that JSON field that we assigned inside the intent detection. And then we have some guidelines like adding fitting emojis to your reply to make it a little bit more fun. Ask only for the remaining parameters. The parameters needed are date, time, details, name, and email. Ask for one parameter per question because otherwise ChatGPT will just blatantly ask for everything in one go, and that is not a really good user experience. And if you collected all the information, output your reply as a JSON, so all parameters can be mapped separately. Only return the JSON object and nothing else inside. Inside the JSON payload, also include the appointment status completed. The last one is really important because we're going to check with a condition after this chat completion. Then we're just going with the messages from last text input from the user. Under the functions, we're going to use the function, the intent detection, by pressing the drop down, and then you will be able to map it. As you can see here, you can just map it this way. Remember, history is also important because the follow-up questions will be depending on the history. The model that I am using is GPT-4 because it's a little bit more precise, especially when trying to work with a system message. The maximum tokens are set to 500. Usually and rarely you will not basically get this inside of a reply. It will always be much lower. And the temperature I will set to 0.4, which for me is at least the sweet spot. Then we're going to map the choices and then the 0 between brackets .messages.content and save that towards a custom field called JetGPT-response, basically the reply that JetGPT gives. On the next step, we are going with a condition block where we're going to check if the JetGPT response contains the word completed. If yes, then that means that we captured all the parameters, and we'll get to the next step there in just a few moments. But if no, we're just going to ask ChatGPT to ask for the next parameter question. Now, if all parameters have been captured, the first thing that I'm going to do is execute the JavaScript. Seems really developer-like, but it's not that bad. And I will also put this code inside the video description for you to copy and paste. On the edit action, you will see that I have a parameter value, or a name, sorry, from aiResponse, then a parameter value. This is the custom field from ChatGPT, and then we have some test value. Inside the actual JavaScript, we have a var payload object, in this case, is JSON.parse, and then we have these aiResponse in between, right? Then the next step is to determine, because I stated during the testing that this happens quite a lot with ChatGPT, to check whether or not it outputs the data inside of this test value or not. So this specific line will handle this and allow you to always map the correct values. Then we are going to create a mapped object for each parameter. So as you can see, we have date, we have time, we have details, name, email, and the status has been added by ChatGPT, right? Status completed. We're going to return this. So if we're going to test this function, then we'll get this kind of reply back, which we can nicely map every single thing in the next step. If we're going to the next step, basically what I did, I'm just going to confirm all the details of the appointment, so the date, the time, the details, and the email, and I'm just using that JSON field. So if we're going towards the correct example, then we can just really map the date, the time, the details, and the email, right? Last but not least, I just provided the does this seem correct, and then also fetch the name from the details overview. So from this one, right? So this specific name. So let's test this out. Let's just go towards the web chat widget, and let's go there right now. You can see I did already a bunch of testing, but let's say I like to make an appointment. First of all, the intent detection needs to be triggered, right? And it seems it's going to. So when would you like to schedule the appointment? Let's say 28th of September. And then it should ask for the time. Okay, so now it's going to ask for the time. Let's say 2 p.m. Well, actually, let's go with something else, 11 a.m. Now it will ask for the details, and let's say a discovery call. And this time you will see, of course, that it will ask for every single parameter, but we are going to stop that in just a few seconds. So also we have the date, time, details for your appointment. Now could you please provide us with your name? So instead of giving a name here, I'm going to press the skip to basically simulate a failed capture all parameters. So this will go towards the field step and the flow that we just went through. So let's say skip, and now ChatGPT will ask for the name once again. As you can see, sure, could you please provide your name for the appointment? So let's say Mark. And last but not least, it should also ask for the email, right? So there we have it, last detail. Let's say mark@ujet.com.au. Once I press this, ChatGPT should output that every parameter has been assigned, go towards the JavaScript to formulate a good JSON payload that we can map towards a new JSON field, and then map all the details. So let's see if this works. Takes a few seconds, and there we have it. Right, so the date, 28th of September 2023, time 11 a.m., discovery call, and the email. Does this seem correct, Mark? So as you can see, this way, by building this fallback of just basically 5 nodes, right? So we have just 5 nodes. This one I just used to clear all the values. But with these 5 nodes, you can build your own fallback for your really important intents. An additional way would also be to let the intent be detected here. Do not ask for any parameters here, right? So you can delete all of them and then just go towards that unsuccessful intent match flow and let ChatGPT handle it from that end. And that is also possible. But I think first try to capture all the details here, which makes more sense and easier in setup. And if this fails, it will go towards this unsuccessful intent match. And from there, you will have this fallback set up for you. So, hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it useful, do consider dropping a like. And if you have any questions, do let us know, and we'll try to help you out as soon as possible. For now, have a great day, take care, and talk soon.